So my question is that did you analyze what was the reasons they didn't find a place in those local communities when they grew up? Because that's the one important question, I think.
I think it's a lot about the relationships, because it was other people there.
Pieni ihminen suuressa mukana.
Tervetuloa kuuntelemaan Kansanlähetyksen tuottamaa Pieni ihminen suuressa mukana podcastia. Päivän jakso on poikkeuksellisesti englanniksi. My name is Daniel Nummela. I'm the Executive Director of Finnish Lutheran Mission, and today I have a special guest from Norway. Welcome here, Jarleif Gaustad from Norwegian Lutheran Mission.
That's right. Yeah, you managed to pronounce my name. That's great. Even Norwegians struggle with that.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. And today with us in the studio is also my regular guest, Mika Järvinen. Welcome.
Thanks. Tack.
Yeah. Great.
And today our theme is Future of Christian Communities. And this is because Jarleif has been participating to the conference we have in Ryttylä this weekend, and you will be speaking about this theme tomorrow also. But today we want to ask some more personal questions about how did you meet? How did you become a Christian man you are today?
Yes. I remember because my parents are Christians, and I grew up in church and prayer house and traveling to camp. And from very early, I remember this was something I want to listen to. But at some point, I realized that I had to make my own decisions. Will I believe this or not? Can I believe this? I felt my parents were pretty conservative, and yeah. So I was wondering, struggling to find out some issues, but in some way I experienced that the Bible, the Word of God, spoke to me. So I had kind of a travel together with Jesus when He started to speak to me, and I was trying to find out: is this Him, or is it just inside my own head?
And that happened like when you were 7-year-old or 15?
I remember getting my first Bible when I was 9, I think. Christmas, I was 9. And it was an experience of this message in this book. This is important. And at that time, I just thought, wow, this was some thoughts I got. But later on, I've been thinking, maybe God was speaking to me that this is my word. This is important in your life. Read this, share this. So sometimes I think the Lord touched me in stories I heard about how He was doing so.
How did it change your life when you have had this experience? Did it change a lot, or did you just realize that now I have a purpose for my life?
Just later in my teenage, I think, because this is something I look back and think, wow, God was with me. God put some seeds in my heart. I didn't understand it was His word. I didn't understand that He was going alongside with me. So it was maybe a retrospective. I've seen it. So yeah, but when I was about 15, I have it's a friend of mine. He's called Sindre, and he asked me to come to him. He's 4 years older than me. And he said, would you come and let's just pray and read the Bible together. And through this relationship with a younger brother, he just opened something for me, an experience and just reading the Bible and expect to have answer from God and sharing. So that kind of environment, this group, because we grew as a group. There were first just the two of us, and then we invited more people. And that experience that God spoke to us, through us, and in this group.
So that was kind of your first touch for community.
Yeah, I think so. I had some in the campus as well when I was at camps, and we were sitting at night before get to sleep, and the leader came in and was reading a word. So that was that kind of a fellowship, but it really opened, and I felt that and God confirmed thing, God showed us thing that we couldn't know, and we asked us to pray for things we experienced that happened that we couldn't know about this, but God spoke to us to pray about different things, and that builds some faith and trust that God is alive.
So you were growing up in this very lively Christian community, and you had Christian friends. And how did it became that at some point you were adult? And was it easy transition to the adult groups after that, or was there a lot of struggling in the process?
I think maybe in the late teenagers. Till that time, we were, grew up as I had some Christian friends, and we had grown up with Christian parents, and some of friends had joined the youth ministry that we were taking a part of. But at one point, people started to take making other decisions, having party and not attending church, and that put me on some choice, and in that situation, I feel like that God confirmed this experience with the Bible when I was 9. So He came to me when I was 19, when I was reading about when Jesus met Peter and said, "Feed my sheep," and it was like standing there with Jesus saying this to me, "Jarleif, feed my sheep," and that had been an experience late the night before. Some of my friends had made some choices that I understood that they rejected Jesus. And it was like, go and talk to them. Ask them what is going on. Yeah, I think I entered into kind of an adult dealing with Jesus at that time. It was a shift. So it was a kind of a calling. It was kind of something that He opened up, and He showed me some of the path.
So did you see at that point that in the future I will be building these communities, or was it like that a lot later do you understand that how God was leading your life? What was the process when you went to study theology? And
no, that was a bit later, but I don't know. But in a way, I grew up in a low church movement and with the prayer houses, and I remember I wish I was a part of a church. I wish I had a pastor, like some of my friends, and because I was wondering, where is my pastor? Who is leading me? So it was kind of random preachers coming to the prayer house, and I was longing for something more. And I see it isn't room for what I need, but I didn't see the way. So I ended up in youth work after a few years of studying. So and that was a fantastic time. At the same time, I saw that group after group growing up in loving Jesus, leaving the fellowship when they were too old for the youth ministry, because they couldn't find a place in the local community of Christians. And that was freaking me out.
I think we can very deeply understand the problem you describe it, because we have very similar experiences here in Finland. That I think that because we have these confirmation camps every summer, we have about six camp and over 100 young people here studying Christianity 1 week or 2 weeks, and then they come to be group leaders of the camps. So following years they will be here like something between 3 to 5 years, but then they are in their 20s, and then they suddenly, most of them disappears. That's the struggle we have, I think. How do you think?
Yeah, maybe the moment when they leave from their home town and they leave to get to study in another town, they are used to go to their hometown's youth group, but they don't find in the new place the same style or for their own age.
So my question is that did you analyze what was the reasons they didn't find a place in those local communities when they grew up? Because that's the one important question, I think.
I think it's a lot about the relationships. Because it was other people there. So I think if there had been more deeper connections with the other people, I think it would help it. And at the same time, they used to get together in kind of prayer meetings to just get together, see each other in their face, worshiping together. But when they get to an adult meeting, they were just sitting and watching people in the neck. So it was a totally different community. So I think that's also a part of it that makes it harder. And of course, it's when you get into a new time of life, that's a time when people shift. People shift maybe away from Christianity or into Christianity. So I think there are several reasons for why. So, but that's why I think it's important to help them to find Christian communities where they can find helpful life and find good friendship and have fun.
Hey, when you were doing youth work, did you try take those kids or young teenage people to adult meeting? Hey, here's our kids. Let's do something together. Did you try that?
Yeah, we tried it, and in a way it works as long as I was there. But when I left, so we had meetings. We tried to do different things. So to me, it was very helpful when I was introduced to church planting, because that helped me to put some words on an experience and a longing I had, and because building something new is so much easier when you try to change things. Yeah, it's hard, really hard.
But I heard, and if I understood correctly, you managed to change also many things inside the Lutheran Mission in Norway. Or did I understand correctly that there was a point where you said that there was 20 years you didn't build up any new communities, and then you made some decisions, and then now you have almost 100 in the last 10 years or something?
Now it's 80, and we have 5 church plants. So, yeah, something happened, and I have. It's been a privilege to be a part of this, and I think to me, I felt like God called me just to stay, because I was attending another church for a period, and then I felt God called me back to Norwegian Lutheran Mission, and just to be there, because they had several different youth leaders in this position I entered for there were 5 leaders over 3 years or something. So to me, it was just stay, just be there with them. So I stayed for nearly 10 years, I think that has been something I brought from the youth ministry to help these young that dream about planting new churches, new fellowships, or they want to change something. I want to make room for them. I want to say, hey, we need them. We need what they are doing, and what they are doing is good. Help people to see what they are doing, because they do something different, and it's easy to think that this is not a typical Norwegian Lutheran mission. But just helping them to see the passion for Jesus. They share the Bible. Yeah, they play different kind of music. Yeah, they do things different, but the core is the same. So we need them.
Yeah,
Is it 80 church, or how many it was?
80.
80. So how old and how young people there are meeting, like in different churches, or are they some churches are for older people and some for younger?
When they start churches, often it's not from 0 to 100 years. If there are small people with small kids, often that's who they are. But it just takes a few years till these kids are teenagers, and you need to give space for some new young parents and their kids, and then you got diversity in age as well, and in kinds of people. So I think that will be a natural process in a church, and also grandparents when they want to be with the children, their grandchildren. So we see that in Norway, that the church plants recruit older people later, but they will be with their children and their grandchildren.
So it takes time.
Yeah.
Was it a struggle inside the NLM to make these decisions, and what was the key points you made to change the way you were building up the communities, or thinking about the communities, Christian, or how do you say? Do you call them churches today?
Today we do that.
So it was a change. Then there happened something, and what were the key decisions you had to make to be able to do this kind of change?
But you didn't call them always church.
No, because we just call them fellowships for a long period, and we did that. But we knew what we were building. That was a family, a spiritual family. That was the core thing, the important thing that we wanted to build. So, but it was something that was discussed a lot, and it made temperature when we were talking about it. And but we made the decision that we need this. We need also room for this kind of fellowship that was church congregation-ish. Yeah. So. Back in 2012, on our General Assembly, we decided that our target is within 2020 to get 100. So, and then when we had decided that, we needed to do something to get there. But still, it was not something everybody agreed with. But we made room for both, or for different way of having a Christian relationship and fellowship. And
so with both, do you mean the local churches and the NLM churches, or what do you mean?
Yeah, the prayer houses. We let the prayer houses that wanted to keep on the same way. Okay, do that if that's what you believe, but give space for this other kind of doing it, which is more congregational. So and these are the one that is growing. And the small groups, the supporters for mission, with no connection to that kind of church, is they're being less and less of them. So it's also when the Norwegian church opened for same-sex marriage, some people also stopped arguing against, because this discussion stopped actually then. But to me, it's important to do it not as a protest. We need to build Christian congregations because it's our mission, not because not of a protest. We need to do it in a positive, because we believe that we need to share the gospel and we need to disciple people, and that is what we're doing in a congregation. So let's build congregation that share the gospel and disciple people.
If we look now those churches, how similar there are to each other, and what kind of differences there are
within? The different. Some are very traditional and looks like the old prayer houses, having much of the same songs and the way of doing it. But still, they are planning, for example, more of the teaching. So they gradually change and do it more structured. Some other are more charismatic. Some are just more contemporary and singing songs, which is more for the younger ones. Yeah.
And now
so they are different.
So and now we are talking. These are NLM churches.
Yes.
And there's that kind of variety.
Yeah, because that was in the summer that we decided to call them for congregations or churches. So that was a decision we made, and so that is the official name of that kind of fellowship. But that was until now it has been something we have disagreed about, and some still don't use that word, and that's okay. So I think it's important to find a name that is they are familiar with, and I think it's good. So, but we made in our local church, we call it church for the one reason that we need our name for the others, not for ourselves. We don't need a name that we feel good with. We need a name that they understand. So when people from outside ask, what is this? Is it a church? Yes. Why don't you call it a church? so we thought, okay, let's call it church, because then it's easier for people outside to find us.
Did you have what kind of discussions you had with the state church of Norway? Because you have a relationship with the state church also, and I think that some or many of your members, they are also members of the state church. So how does this relationship works for you?
I think that's a part that is different from Finland. So in Norway, the prayer houses has been maybe a bit more independent, especially our prayer houses or groups. But still, most of our members are members in the Church of Norway. Well, there has been a conversation about it, and we have an agreement about baptism. So they have recognized our way of baptizing, and when they are baptized in our prayer houses, they can go to the Church of Norway and be a member. So that was a deal that was made between this prayer house organization and the Church of Norway. But there's another organization in Norway. They have more formal and have actually some of their congregations, which is churches in the Church of Norway. So they have membership both in the Church of Norway and the organization.
Yeah, this is very interesting for us here in Finland, because we see that the Church of Finland, it's more and more liberal. We see that every decision seems to be difficult for the perspective of the Bible, from the perspective of the Bible, and we are struggling with our identity as a part of this church we have been belonging so many years. But also at the moment we want to be inside the Finnish Evangelical Lutheran Church and to be able to work with all the people, but then we have these movements inside the church which are going to totally different directions, and then we have this also these younger peoples who are calling the fellowships we have churches. So it's a mixture of many different things, and
so they're making problems for you.
That's my headache, and because I think we are few years after you coming with the similar road. We don't know how it ends up, but we see that we are discussing about these same questions you have been discussing inside NLM, and so that's the reason I'm very interested in the things you are telling us today.
Hey, soon Daniel will read Bible there, but before that, I have one really big question for you. If you take these churches that NLM has there in your country, what's your dream?
My dream.
Like your personal dream.
My personal dream, yes. I'm very excited because was kind of when I started this work I'm doing now. It was like feeling I started in this position 8 years ago, and it was like I was thinking about Sarah, Abraham's wife, where her she couldn't bear a child, and I felt like if something died in us about bringing new life. So I just need to cry to God, you must help us. And then said, look at Sarah. I gave life. I always give life to the death. It's me. So I dream about giving the next generation a place where they can come together and share the Bible, share life, and be strong in faith, and see an older generation going along with them, not just criticizing or applauding, but go along with them, share life. So I dream about seeing that in Norway more and more. So we started to see some of this, and I dream about seeing more.
That's a great dream. I think it's easy to participate to that dream for us also. That's something we have been praying and dreaming about. I was thinking about that you will be teaching Bible for us tomorrow, and the chapter is from Acts, the second. So I will read these same verses you will be teaching us for tomorrow, and maybe we can have some points or ideas about these verses. So it relates to the topic. So from verse 42 until the 47. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and in prayers. Then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles. Now all who believed were together and had all things in common, and sold their possessions and goods, and divided them among all, as anyone had need. So, continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from the house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily those who were being saved. What does these verses mean to you?
Well, in one way, it seems like an Insta moment of the early church.
Yeah.
Wow, that was fantastic. And I think, yes, it was fantastic. And the question is, was this something special? Is that why they wrote about it? Or did they write about it because it was the typical way?
What do you believe?
I think they when they wrote this, they thought back. That was because if you look at the acts later and the letters, we see much more struggle than we saw those days. But I think we find some of the DNA of some values of the kingdom that we can taste here on earth. But one day God is gonna recreate everything. And then this is what we're gonna live in. So I think it was maybe it's an instant moment, but I think God wants us also to get a little taste of this fellowship, what it can be, and what it will be one day.
This is a very nice picture. I think that we could continue this discussion many hours because there are so many points I would like to ask you about. Because sometimes for example, I hear the voices that some people also in Finland, they think that, yeah, this is the way it should be, and then everything fell down, and now we are in this kind of very
Yes, what do you think then?
That's a good question. So I think that there was a reason we have a bit different ways to do the services today, because there were so few people in the beginning, and now when we can have hundreds of people coming together, so it's a bit different. But I think that you put in before our eyes, you put a very nice picture of where we will be in heaven. It will be more like a one family. Of course, we can feel like to be participating in the family meeting today also, but there are so many problems which arises because the sin and because of the Christian people. They are not better than other people, but they are, as any people, they have many problems because of the sin, and then the relationship to the other peoples are so complicated.
Yes.
And that's also, we see it in every fellowships we have, that there are problems with the relationships between the people and everything. But this should be another discussion someday.
What was your goal?
Yeah, what do you think
about?
Is it how we should live, this picture? Or is it just idealistic?
I think it in some way it's a bit idealistic, because they were believing that Jesus will come back very soon, like tomorrow. So they sold everything, and then they came together. But in some way, I think that sometimes we lose the sight of Jesus coming back soon. And when we are talking about Christianity and Christians, one of the marks to be a Christian is to wait Jesus coming back. So in that way, I would like to see us also coming together more often. And then, but the word today, it's a bit different than it used to be 2,000 years ago. But still there are many that we shouldn't forget, those who are needing, those who don't have enough food, those who don't have clothes to put on. So we should have more feelings towards them to help them. So in that way, it's not idealistic, but it's something we should do. But do you agree, or are you disagreeing this? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. So that's kind of a picture of the Insta moment.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I agree with that, and I think but there's some values. There's something to learn about sharing and caring for the people. Yes, absolutely. So, but often we also just look at the text and see, okay, they had fellowship, they teach the Bible, they had a communion, and they prayed, and that's what we do as church, and it stops there in a way. So because it's a bit hard to struggle with this, they sold everything, and something, wow, they sold everything. Wow, what would a property in Jerusalem be worth today? And some will think, sorry, I don't want to sell. Maybe I should.
But you remember later they said that before you sold it, Peter said to those, there was a couple who died because they lied to the congregation that, we sold it with this price, and then it wasn't the whole price. But what Peter said for them was that before you sold it, it was yours.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to do it, but they wanted to do it. So there is a big difference, I think, that they wanted to do it because of the church, and they saw that it was necessary for the church to do what they were doing at the moment.
Yeah, and also in the text it says that they sold the property, but still they gathered in the homes.
That's true.
Someone still had.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then one thing I would like to add is that also I know many Christians today who are not having like this bigger fellowship with the church or with the congregation, and that's something I would like to be able to encourage people to go to the church, to meet the people, to come do it not only in the Christmas time or in the time of Easter, but also during the normal life. That if you have trouble to come to church every week, try to do it at least twice a month or something like that. So that's something that I found very important in these verses, that they were coming together many times. Every day, I don't. The every day, it's not a law, but I think that we should come together more often. Many of us who don't have any fellowship regularly. But I think we have used the time we have today.
Over 7 minutes.
Yes, that sounds good. And then, then I would like to ask you, Jarleif, to pray for the Finnish mission organizations and evangelizing we are doing inside Finland and with the people of Finland, to be able to find the way to reach them with the gospel today. Is that okay?
Yes,
yeah,
of
please.
Course. Father in heaven, I just thank you for bringing us together with you, and that you are coming close to us with your word, with your spirit. Lord, I thank you for what you have been doing in Finland for so many years. And I just want to pray you now that you will give strength to the people in Finland and to the people in the mission organizations in Finland. Give them courage to share the gospel and give them joy about the gospel, that this message is fantastic. So they can share it and they can bring people together and disciple them and help them back, that we can meet you one day. And then I pray that between the Finnish people, Norwegians, and Swedes, and Danish, and Russians, and Ukrainians, and all nations on earth, that all you are called out. I pray that we will meet you again, Lord. I pray for that day, and I pray that we can bring so many people that we can. So give us strength, give us courage, and give us love to do it. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jarleif. This was a great discussion.
I have
Thank you for having me.
one word for you. Tack så mycket.
Thank
Now
you.
I should have the Finnish way, but I don't. Thank you.
Kiitos paljon.
Kiitos paljon.
That was well said.
And thank you, Jurvis. It was nice to do it once more time.
Tack så mycket för dig.
And thank you that you were listening this podcast today. We have a next episode in next few weeks, so come back to listen our episodes.
In
Normally we do
Finnish.
it in Finnish, but sometimes we will continue to do the English podcast episodes.
I'm hoping to hear also one day in Japanese.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, bye.